All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters over at Patreon. Hey, I want to talk to us about something here this morning that I believe that's really, truly pressing. I think it's a spirit. Matter of fact, I know it's a spirit because if we go look in the Bible, we can see that sometimes Satan knows things prior to it happening. And I'm not saying that everything that he thinks he knows is true, because remember, he thought that if he killed Jesus, Yeshua, that would have been the end of it all, and they were celebrating and whole 9 yards. Come to find out, he ended up being a defeated foe. And then those of us who know how to walk in that, know how to appropriate the power of the kingdom, we get the victory. All right. Now, with all that said, I want to say this. I have watched the dynamics of the status quo of the European construct and its perspective of biblical based theology and knowledge literally being crammed down our throats for centuries, and the status quo, or the theological seminaries, the so-called theologians, the teachers, the scholars, they all expected for us to continue to keep drinking the Kool-Aid and believe everything that they have said to us. And they never, ever, ever, matter of fact, they thought they had so much of a monopoly on truth that they never, ever, ever thought that we were actually going to become proactive and actually do our own individual due diligence when we became a man and started reading the Bible for ourselves and rightly dividing the word of truth. Because you know that straightway, we challenge everything that there is to challenge about this European construct that has been literally given to us here in the United States of America. We all have come to find out and come to the knowledge of truth that Christmas is pagan and evil. Easter is pagan and evil. Sunday is definitely pagan and evil. Halloween, Thanksgiving, etc., all the way down the line. We've also come to the knowledge of the truth that swine is just flat out an abomination. We know that homosexuality, that used to be classified as a mental disorder in this country years ago, has now become the accepted form of lifestyle, so much so that they're even teaching your children how to be homosexuals and lesbians. And it's a sickening disease, even still till today, for those of us who are Hebrews and Israelites, and especially those who have been converted to become Israelites. But I want to make this video right here because not only have we been able to read and write and comprehend and establish, challenge the European construct and the status quo concerning everything else, but we've also been able to establish the European construct of what is considered to be biblical marriage. We all know that polygyny is the Greek term, and it's more of a concrete term than polygamy. Polygamy means multiple marriages, and it makes no difference if you have husband and wife, which the United States of America and the majority of the people in this country actually practice polygamy by serial divorce and remarriage. A man may get married 2 or 3, 4 times in this country right here, as long as he has a statutory contract coming from the government. It's all fine and good. A woman may be married 3, 4, 5, 6 times in this country right here, as long as they have a statutory contract and that's become the accepted form. It's all good. So the Christian construct, as well as the American societal construct and makeup, has no trouble with people having multiple husbands and multiple wives, as long as they're not piled up together. If they're consecutively concurrent, and then one after another, you dissolve one by the state and you get another one, dissolve one by the state, get another one, they think that's fine. And of course, we know that to be false as well, because people seem to be taking the easy road of easy divorce and remarriage, and thereby committing what the Bible calls an evil and adulterous generation. And that's exactly what it is. It's an evil and an adulterous generation. The Bible is clear. No matter how much that the European construct, and no matter how much that this wicked American society, the European side, the Western abstract thought and ideal, tries to cram down our throat in monolygamy, we all know, for those of us that are due diligence and students of the truth, and those of us who have the spirit of the truth, we know that our ancient people, the Israelites, practiced polygyny. Not only that, it was just a commonplace. Just like if you left America and you moved to Africa, the largest continent on the face of planet Earth, you'll realize that for thousands and thousands of years, this is just the norm. So when you've been taken away from your country, been robbed of your heritage, been robbed of your language, been robbed of your culture, been robbed of your own independent thought, you have your women taken from you and raped and robbed, your men sodomized and killed and stuff, that puts an effect upon the psychological effects upon the mind of the people. I said all that to give an education, say this. Now, what we having a problem with is that we're having people today having a problem with, and I'm going to title this, older men, younger women. Older men, younger women. Now, it's fine and good when Donald Trump marries Melania Trump, or whatever it is, and he's about, I think they have like a 25 or 30 year gap between them in age. And it's fine when all the so-called rich people do it, but when it's coming down to us little common low-base folks, or we're going to call them low-base, but we know we're not low-base. And when it comes to the middle class and all this other stuff, everybody just has a hell of a lot to say about it. But it's all conjecture, it's all assertions, and it's all opinions. But when you think about it, does anybody out there know, in a ballpark figure, how old was Joseph and Miriam, or Joseph and Mary, or Joseph and Mary, that we read about in the New Testament? Anybody knows what was their age gaps and difference? Anybody know the age gap and difference of Joseph and Leah, Joseph and Rachel? Anybody know? It's obvious in our culture, especially looking at King David, Solomon, Moses, and quite a few other people, Gideon, Elkanah. It's obvious. Boaz, Ruth, it's obvious that it was normal in our culture for an older man to be married to a younger woman. Not only an older man to be married to a younger woman, and this is what the older women don't want to hear today, and it's totally irrelevant, you don't want to hear it. But an older man can be married to multiple younger women. And the reason being, and I know what some people think, well, PastorDowell is talking about this because he's trying to justify himself getting an older woman. First of all, or getting an older, or PastorDowell is trying to justify himself because he's trying to get him a younger woman. First of all, I don't try to do anything because I'm a grown-ass man. If I want to get another younger woman, I'll just simply go get her, period. But I'm also have an honor system and code about myself. There's no way that I would ever make any contract or agreement with anyone without their consent. I just simply wouldn't do it. But what is the purpose of an older man having a younger woman? The purpose is not only to be able to provide, because an older man, chances are, too many times more often than not, is more financial ready to be able to take care of a younger woman rather than a woman being saddled up with a man around her own age group. I remember the struggle when Mother and Carol and I came up, because Mother Carol and I are something like maybe 6 to 8 months apart, maybe a year, something like that. And I remember the struggle, working from paycheck to paycheck and not having enough to make ends meet, and then robbing Peter to pay Paul, doing this and doing that. And then when I finally worked long enough to be able to make a decent wage, things got a hell of a lot easier and stuff. But what happens when I am 45 years old, and of course I'm older than that now, and I want to be able to have seed, and my wife can no longer have seed? Do I follow the European construct and just accept this particular society for what they say and just say, well, I'm done? Well, we know naturally that that's not so. A man is not done until he dies, basically, because he can always produce children. But a woman only has a window this amount of time, this for a certain period of time. So they're trying to bring guilt, shame, and condemnation if a younger woman desires an older man, which she will be looking for security, and she will be looking for someone that is more mature, that can actually rear her up and train her up to be a good wife and a good woman, a good husband. But this society fights against that. And even though the woman is of age, they hate the fact, because the older women, their complaint is that, well, dang, the younger women are taking all of our man. Well, what if you continue? What if you are a good woman that the older man would have never ever wanted to leave you? You would have still had him. And especially being in biblical marriage, being in polygyny, you could still be in the household. You could still be in the faith. But the envy and jealousy is real. So there are spirits out there now that it seems like it's trying its best to stop the move of Yah. By if an older man wants a younger woman and a younger woman wants an older man, then what is it to you? What any damn business of it is it? Because the bottom line is, it's still the man's choice and decision, and it's that woman's choice and decision whether she chooses it or not. Because to tell you the truth, anything we do in this society and in this world that genders the truth, the world hates it. The problem is that you got a lot of sexually frustrated older women who have not taken care of themselves, and the younger women that the older man can still rear and train and love and provide for. They are more susceptible of listening to an older man that is intelligent and got his act together, rather than a young fool or an old fool. They get to actually pick and choose the man that they actually want to be saddled up with for the rest of their life or his life, and be at peace, and then alleviate themselves of a hell of a lot of drama. On the flip side, the man gets to have seed. He continues to be able to multiply himself, because the younger women are in their child-rearing season. So what the hell is the damn problem? I'll tell you what it is. The problem is competition amongst women, and the envy is real, and the jealous is real. Hope I said something to stimulate thought.